Chris Wood becomes only the 7th Premier League player to score a Boxing Day hat-trick. His treble helping to down Newcastle 3-1 at St James's Park. Forest now 5 clear of the bottom 3. What a day to remember then for the former Magpie. Brilliant day, right, for Chris Wood?
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. His first goal was a tap-in. The second one was superbly finished, and the third one was superbly finished.
Yeah.
But I was saying it down, I'd still be going in there saying I should have had 4 goals.
You won't let it go, will you?
Still won't let it go.
But that kind of, I suppose, epitomises what Forest were all about today.
Yeah, it was, perfect, tactically perfect. Chris Wood played really well today, to be fair, holding the ball up for his team, drawing fouls when he had to, linked really well with him and Elanga, who was starting to develop a really nice partnership at the minute. But yeah, I thought he was outstanding today. Chris Wood was a real threat from start to finish and got his rewards.
As Les said here, the first of the 3 was the more straightforward of the finishes.
Yeah, it was. It was all about Anthony Elanga, who's been fantastic. I mean, we spoke about it earlier. Kieran Trippier probably should foul there, doesn't. But Chris Wood just getting in between the defenders. Elanga using his pace, cuts it back, and it is a simple finish. But I just said a lot of centre forwards are not there, so it looks simple because it's a tap in. But if you're not there, you don't put it in. But as you can see here, Kieran Trippier, stop it at source, take the book in. Then it doesn't go that far, but Gibbs White keeps his composure. Elanga using his pace down the outside, cuts it back, and Chris Wood, nice tapping.
And you know what, with the Kieran Trippier there, where he should have taken him out, but he doesn't. But I don't know where he's running to afterwards. Chris Wood is the danger in the box, and he just runs straight. And good movement from Chris Wood. And as you said, it was the easiest of all the goals he scored today.
Yeah, which was in stark contrast to the other 2, which were very similar finishes actually. But he managed to get in behind the Newcastle defence. Too easy from Eddie Howe's perspective?
Yeah, I mean, again, you see Elanga pick the ball up here, they win it defensively, and Elanga sprints away, and then just all of a sudden he's in behind. Dan Burn there is unfortunately caught out for pace, and Chris Woods ain't the quickest in hitting the Premier League. If it was Elanga, I'd kind of like make an excuse for it, but I can't make an excuse for here. Dan Burn turns here and he doesn't actually look at where Chris Woods gone. If he keeps steering at the ball, he probably intercepts the pass there, but he doesn't. He's concentrating on where Chrissy Woods is. Chrissy Wood then does absolutely brilliantly here, just takes him inside and outside, and then this is a delightful little chip over the goalkeeper, and great finish.
And the moment the ball went in behind him, Dan Burn just couldn't sort his body position out. I mean, he's too busy looking where Chris Wood is. When he does get his body into the position to kind of defend, he's off balance. And Chris Wood, as I said there, he looked really, really sharp today. And as Les was saying, he's not the quickest. So the fact he managed to keep getting in behind him over and over again, that's something for Eddie Howe to look at with his back line.
And credit when he went kind of eye to eye with Dubravka, but with a very similar finish. I mean, I suppose there's cases of bluffing, double bluffing. Where does he go with this one?
Again, it's a really good finish because, I mean, it's so simple to get in, so basic. It's schoolboy defending. But for himself, once he gets in there, sometimes these are the worst finishes. When you've got more time than maybe you want, so many things go through your mind. There, he keeps his composure. And when you look at it from here, Les, it's such schoolboy defending. I mean, there's no pressure on the ball. And if you're taught as a kid, if there's no pressure on the ball, you have to drop. They don't drop. They try and keep that high line. And as you said, you don't even have to be the quickest.
No.
Just time your run well and you get in there.
And that's all he's done. And unfortunately, we've seen Trippier keep him on side again, unfortunately. He drops off deeper than his centre-backs. The centre-backs let him run. And that should never happen. But again, he shows coolness and a calmness there. And, when you've scored 2 goals in a game, then you're that confident that you feel you can do whatever you want. And he shows great composure and just goes past the goalkeeper and slides out in the back of the net.
What a return to St James's Park for that man. So let's hear from Newcastle's man of the moment. Here he is now alongside Morgan Gibbs White.
Chris, we'll start with you. 3 goals, 3 points. A very happy return to St James's Park for you.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's hopefully what we deserved. I think we played extremely well in the game today. The boys were on fire, and it's nice to come away with 3 points and get that winning feeling back. It's been a long time.
Yeah, no doubt good for you as well to get a Premier League hat-trick. And there were 3 very different goals. The second one in particular was pretty special. Not necessarily a trademark Chris Wood goal. Talk us through that one.
That's a bit harsh, but... yeah, I mean, it was nice. I mean, Ant's done all the hard work, played me in behind, and look, I'm just happy to stick them away. That's what I'm there to do. That's the job of a forward, and I just want to keep continuing to do it for it.
Yeah, it's a lovely little shimmy and a gorgeous dink. I'm sure you enjoyed it, Morgan. You came out in the second half. You had a chance 11 seconds into the second half. What was the message from Nuno at the break?
I think it starts from the start of the week when we start building into the game. We're talking about creating our own identity now in the way that we want to play, and I think the boys showed that out there today, especially in the second half. Being comfortable on the ball, forward thinking, forward runs, deep passes, and I think we showcased that today. And fair play to big man. He scored 3 absolutely incredible goals.
They were very good. What will that identity morph into over the coming weeks and months?
Just becoming a together team in a way that we want to play, in the way that the manager wants us to play. And like I said, we showcased that today. So we just got to keep building on that performance and look for the next one.
And interestingly, of course, Morgan Gibbs-White, alongside man of the moment Chris Wood, knows all about the New Forest boss after their time together at Wolves. With the players that he's got at his disposal at the City ground, does that fit perfectly with the way Nuno wants to play? And we saw evidence of that at St James's.
Yeah, I mean, we know Nuno likes to sit on the counter-attack, play counter-attacking football, use pace to go forward. And when you've got the likes of Elanga, who I thought was outstanding today, Callum Hudson-Odoi, obviously Chris Wood played there, Morgan Gibbs-White, they've got Tyree Awoniyi to come back at some point as well. That's how he'll like it. He'll like to just sit back, soak up pressure, be really defensively solid, not give up too much space, but when they go the other way, really utilise the pace and the space that's been left by the opposition. And he'll look at that team and go, do you know what, I can work with this team. And it wouldn't surprise me if we see many more of these performances, especially for away from home, because at home it's a bit different.
Yeah.
Your home fans don't really want to see you defending deep and hitting teams on a counter-attack. They want you to go and play the game. But certainly away from home against some of the other sides, you can play that system and get joy, and it really worked today.
As far as Newcastle are concerned, it's another setback really for the Magpies and for Eddie Howe. Newcastle's top 4 hopes take another hit today after a rare home defeat to Nottingham Forest. Kieran Trippier skippered the side, and we can hear from him now.
Kieran, how much does that result, the performance, hurt you and hurt the players today?
Yeah, it's very tough. First half we was in control, but on the flip side, that's always a dangerous thing because of the players that they've got. On the transition, they're very good. And as always, in football, if they score just before half time, it changes things. And us as players, we know 5 seconds into the second half, it's a bit unacceptable that they nearly score from that action. So yeah, we know we can do better. Myself included. The standard that we've set throughout the 18 months, we've come away from them a little bit the past few games, but stick together. That's the most important thing.
It all started so well after Alex's penalty. Can you quite put your finger on what went wrong after that?
No, not really. No, like I said, 44 minutes into the first half, we played very well. We had a lot of opportunities. We need to be clinical. And you always have to be aware of the opposition, Like I said before, they're very good on the transition, and I think that's where 2 of the 3 goals came from today. But yeah, now we have a couple of days rest now before I think it's the Liverpool game, to regroup, and as I said before, stay together.
I know this is a side that doesn't make excuses at all, but after 10 games in 31, did it feel like 10 games in 31 days out there a little bit?
Yeah, of course. It's a lot of games, obviously, being in Europe, and it's been a challenge for the club. It's been an experience. Majority of the players are not used to playing in the Champions League. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's, like I said, it's been a challenge for the team. Ultimately, got to respect that we've had a lot of injuries, but the lads have given everything they have, and they've worked hard for each other. But we've got to start the second half of the season strong.
Well, if you consider Newcastle have lost 6 of the last 7 in all competitions, and we're including the League Cup defeat, because of course it ended in a draw, but they went on to exit the competition. They go with no momentum into Liverpool away, Sunderland, a tense, fierce local rivalry that you know about away at the Stadium of Light, Manchester City at home, and then Villa away. What has that recent run done to their chances going into those games now?
As Kieran Trippier said, they need a reset. And, over the last 18 months, we've waxed lyrical about Newcastle and how well they've done. They're having that period. I think had Newcastle progressed in the Champions League, you'd have seen a different Newcastle today. Because I think when you win a couple of games, it gives you a certain amount of momentum, it gives you a certain amount of buzz. They've lost being in the Champions League, and they've lost being in Europe. And there's almost like a mourning process that they're going through at the moment and feeling a little bit sorry for themselves. That's what it looks like. And then the results just haven't come. And I think it's just momentum. They've lost their momentum. They've lost their spark.
Yeah.
And Eddie Howe, again, we've given him lots of plaudits over the last 18 months. Now he needs to go to work, because now they need to find some more momentum, because, as you said, they've got some really important games coming up.
Darren, how quickly things have changed after the euphoria of that 4-1 win against PSG in the Champions League, out of Europe, out of the League Cup, top four hopes hanging by a thread. Does the nature of that performance today, does it tilt a bit of the spotlight now on Eddie Howe?
Yeah, it will do. Absolutely, because I think when you've got ambitious owners like they've got, and Eddie Howe up until this point has been faultless. What he's done, he's got them in the Champions League. They're probably ahead of schedule in terms of where they thought they would be. But when you start losing games and the owners have had a taste of the Champions League and the Champions League nights, and you get some of the best players in the world coming to St James's Park, all of a sudden that seems to be dwindling away. You know what owners are like. They hit panic button and go, do you know what? We need to make a change. Now, that wouldn't be the right decision for me to make. I wouldn't do that personally, but he's got to find a way now of lifting his team, because at the minute, Nottingham Forest, as I say, they don't win games away from home. They go to St James's Park and win 3-1. Luton beat them last weekend. These are two teams that people have spoke about being maybe relegation candidates this season. So it's one of them where he has to just take a breath, try and get some of the players back, and then start picking up results.
Are they running on empty?
Yeah, they look flat.
But they're only running on empty because they're out of the Champions League. As I'm saying, I think if they'd have won that game,
it's a psychological thing.
I think it's a psychological thing, and looking at the stats, and it was mentioned on there. Newcastle haven't won on Boxing Day in about 11, 12. I think they're one of the worst teams in the league for winning on Boxing Day, just like me not scoring on Boxing Day. You know what I mean?
Hey, no, you brought it over
that. But I'm just saying, notoriously they've not won on Boxing Day, but it's more of a concern based on the previous 5 results, 6 results.
But because Eddie Howe's name is now being talked about, do we need to still put this all into perspective? How quickly Newcastle have achieved in the last 2 years, and no panic stations yet, as Darren just alluded to.
Yeah, they've overachieved. We all sit there, and I think last year we were saying, if they'd finished in the top 10 and they got to the League Cup final, everyone was saying what a great season. They managed to get into the Champions League well ahead of schedule, but with that comes expectation. So everybody's expecting now. So, like I said, Eddie has to go to work. We've given him lots of props and praises on this show, and now it's down for him to bring his management to the fore.
And talking of going to work, does that include bringing in reinforcements when the window opens in just a few days' time?
Well, my understanding is there's not a lot they can do in the transfer window unless they were to sell. We've got to remember, there's 10, 11 players still out injured at the moment. So I'm not sure how much money they're going to be able to play with in the transfer window. But if you're Dan Ashworth, you're certainly looking at where they can bolster the squad, and if they've got the money to do it, then I'm sure they will be bringing people in.
Okay.